Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
I'm super excited to have another opportunity to come before you guys and team up with you as we go live on Facebook for our Momentum Monday discussion group. I'm going to ask you, Jill is going to share it on your timeline, ladies, and make sure you share it on your Facebook timeline. So if you have your phone, make sure you look at your Facebook page. Make sure your volume is turned down if you want to interact with everyone. Good morning, Bishop. And then we will go forward. I'm getting ready to go to my page so I can share and see all the millions of people that are tuning in now to Momentum Monday radio show.
Oh, Lord.
There it is. We're live. Hey, to the ones that's viewing now, you have joined the Momentum Monday radio show with Jill Jordan Green, Lynette Rogers, and Bishop Dickie Roberts, and myself. We have a special guest, and we'll introduce her momentarily. We're going to get started at 7:30, so you have time to go get your pen and pad if that's the way you're going to collect the information that's going to be shared with you today. But we are going to go live also on WQSW 100.5 FM in the Fort Wayne, Indiana area, where they are the only 24-hour, 7 days a week gospel station. Bishop, it's always an honor to see you every Monday morning. You are doing amazing things. You are setting the bar for people to do more and be more. But Bishop, you're on mute. But you know, I always love to know what you are doing or what you have taught on Sunday. So share with us. And make sure you take yourself off of mute.
Well, good morning, team. Good morning to you, Christy. Good to have you with us. Yesterday, I was kind of following up on the theme that we had during our conference. You know, we just had our Emerge Leadership Conference last weekend, and it was a powerful time of healing and deliverance. So yesterday, I taught about breaking hidden bondages, the things that can creep into our lives, even from generations past, and lay dormant. And they don't begin to cause trouble for us usually until we decide to do something for God. Yeah. And then those things tend to emerge and get in the way and hinder us from that. So we just talked about how to address those things. And God still has a grace that can reach back generations and break bondages that creep into our lives.
Absolutely. To those that are joining now, this is Momentum Monday radio show. And we always like to get you started or warm you up before we actually go into the show. But one of the things that you said, Bishop, and this is the thing that holds us hostage at times, is those broken pieces, refusing to heal from those wounds. Bishop, there are some people that's joining us now and that will review this video later. Give us 2 ways of moving from the hurt and pain, because sometimes, Bishop, yes, there are people out there that have hurt us. There are some people that have done us wrong. But one of the things I know for sure, and this is another reason why Women of More was developed, is because I was saying stuff to myself. Actually, I was causing my own self some hurt. But give us 2 ways of how to remove ourselves from that.
The very first one is probably the greatest key, and that is forgiveness. Forgive the people who hurt you, because most of the time they've gone on with their lives and they're leaving you in the junkyard of broken pieces of your own life. Healing takes place on the heels of forgiveness. We can't heal ourselves, but what we can do is pave the way for God to heal us, and that is by forgiving them. Then the second thing is realizing that it may not be our fault, but it is our responsibility. We have got to be responsible for our own healing. And that means allowing God to take us from victim to victor. Yeah. God says that we're more than conquerors. We can conquer everything that has come against us, and even those things that have damaged us. But that starts with a decision to let God in to work on those areas that we can't fix ourselves.
Absolutely, Bishop. Hey, if you're just joining us now, you are in the pre show of Momentum Monday. We're going to ask you to go to the bottom of this live video on Facebook and share it on your timeline if you don't mind. Actually, to our co-hosts, if you could go on your phone and make sure you share it on your timeline. Make sure your volume is down on your phone. If you want to look at the video live on your phone, but make sure that you turn your volume and your ringer down or on vibrate. We're going to get started in 5 minutes. We're going to go live on WQSW 100.5 FM in the Fort Wayne, Indiana station. So we're gearing up for them to dial in or press their buttons to tune in to us. We don't dial in anymore. Remember when we used to have that round button in the car to turn the stations? Now it's all digital. How far you have come, Bishop? I know you remember that. You probably had the cassette tapes as well. I don't remember that. I can't hear you, Bishop, and thank God I can't. Put your music on mute. Go ahead.
No, see, you getting in my business now, but the bottom line is I go back as far as 8 tracks, so don't even try me. Cassettes were an upgrade for us, but that's okay. I'm still now in the digital age.
So, Bishop, tell me, with the 8-track, did y'all push it in like it was an 8 tracks that you pushed the cassette in?
No, you push the track into an 8-track player.
Oh, see, I don't know.
Here's a technology.
8 tracks.
There you go. I'm not the only one.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. I'm in the digital age now.
Yes, you are. Hey, to those that are joining us now on Facebook Live, thank you so much. We are just having our discussion before the radio show, and we always like to provide some nuggets. And you know what, Bishop and Lynette and Christy and Jill, one of the things that I am committed to doing is laughing every day. So sometimes we'll start to the show by just making you laugh, making you smile. It's not that hard. This is a new day, a new beginning. Man, you're on the best side of your season. You're on the best side of earth. You're on the best side of today because you are alive and well. We're going to get started of 3 minutes. Hey, make sure y'all got y'all phones away from your laptop. Make sure it's on vibrate, and let's move forward. Hey, if you can, we got some people that's joining us now. How about you, co-hosts? Go ahead and say good morning to them and welcome them to the Momentum Monday radio show. You know, one thing that I am super duper excited about, Bishop and Lynette, I'm going to bring you in for a quick second, is that the opportunities that are before me, you know, sometimes we allow the things that we have to go through. Our pastor was talking about that, talking about Joseph and some of the things that he had to go through, even though he was favored, not just by his father, but by God to do marvelous works. You know, if we deny the process, we'll never get to that destiny. Lynette, share with us, inspire the people that are watching now, will watch later, that to tell them don't give up on their way to their victory, on their way to their finish line. What would you say to them?
I just want to say good morning to everyone. And Michelle, that's a good point because we're all going to go through something. That's how we know we're living. That's how we know we're alive. When I look back and when you look back on the things you've been through, it's gotten us to this point today, right? And so I know there's times where I said, how am I going to get through this? How in the world am I going to move past this pain, this hurt, this challenge? Whatever that thing is, and I just couldn't see past it. But my goodness, there's another day. There's another opportunity. As long as you don't give up, God never gives up on us. And so I just want to encourage everyone and to let you know, keep going, keep going. It's easier said than done. We know, been there, done that, wore the t-shirt, wrote a book about it. And I'm just saying, keep pressing forward because we know our greater is coming. So I just want to say, you know, it is definitely a new day. Every opportunity we get to wake up on this side, you know, we got 24 hours to try it again. Absolutely. So we don't want to take that for granted. And we want to make sure that we are doing our part just to show our gratitude for being able to just try.
You know, Lynette, before I pass it off to you to get us started, one thing that it came to me this morning, Bishop, is that every warrior, every gladiator, every champion, they always have some form of scars when they're going through. especially Jesus. We know what he went through. I've never seen a warrior or a champion without scars based upon what they went through. You know, sometimes we try to avoid that, but those scars are just markers of what we went through and how we overcame those particular things. So to those that are joining us now, we're just vibing. We're just trying to inspire you and get you started and revved up before we start the Momentum Monday radio show on WQSW 100.5 FM. Lynette, I'm passing it over to you, hon.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. It's another glorious Momentum Monday. Beautiful, beautiful Monday morning. We are so glad you guys are rocking and rolling with us this morning. I am so excited to welcome, introduce to some, and present to others the amazing visionary behind this call. She is the one who put this dream team together. She identifies champions all over the world, and we get to talk and show up every Monday morning. Miss Jill Jordan Green, she is just bad to the bone. She is like CEO of her own human resources consulting firm. Look her up, Google her. You will not be disappointed. Yes, I am waving your flag, Jill Jordan Green. Good morning.
Good morning, Lynette. Kisses to you. How you feeling this morning?
I am fired up, 10-foot tall, bulletproof, ready to go.
I love it. I love it. I love it, folks. I want to say good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Momentum Monday. This is the call that's designed to wake you up, shake you up, and take you up to new levels of your life, your career, your business, and your dreams. And I got part of my dream team on the line this morning. And I want to do a special salute to my dream team. We've been together doing this show for 2 years, almost 2 years. Almost 2 years every single Monday morning to make sure your Mondays will never, ever, ever be the same. And so first off, I want to say, hello and salute my girl out there on the East Coast. She is Shelly from Delhi, Michelle Washington, editor-in-chief of Women of More magazine.
Take your time. Say it right.
Has been writing for a long time. She is the initiator and founder of the Women of More movement and doing great things. Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning, Jill Jordan Green. Woo! I needed that one right there this morning. I'm super duper excited to be with you guys, and I hope I'm loud. And I'm also proud to have another opportunity to be intentional with executing my dreams today.
Amen. Be intentional. Thank you for that, Michelle. And we'll stay out there on the East Coast. He's also in the Delaware area. Reigns, though, his ministry from Chester, Pennsylvania. He is Bishop Dickie Robbins, hashtag the nugget dropper, hashtag the wisdom warrior, always giving us amazing nuggets. Good morning, Bishop.
Well, good morning. Good morning. I tell you what, you can't be a dream team unless you have a dream. And Joseph's case, his dream kept him alive. It'll take you through the pit, through Potiphar's house, through the prison, but ultimately to the palace. Don't give up halfway in the journey. Don't abandon the trip because the palace is your destination.
Oh, my call over. Good night. Goodbye. That's it. I mean, that was a powerful word already. Good morning, Bishop.
Good morning. Good morning.
And so we're going to go out there to the Midwest. She is L from the D, Lynette Rogers, visionary, author, mother, speaker. I mean, all things of women empowerment. And she joins us every single Monday morning. Lynette Rogers, good morning.
Good morning, Jill. Good morning, everyone. We are still killing procrastination because we're not playing on these goals. We're not playing on our life. Let's go.
That's right. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. And I didn't get a chance to give everyone's, full bio, but we have a full complement of all authors on this call this morning. I love it. I love it. Michelle's published a magazine. Lynette also is author of Mission Unstoppable. Bishop is author twice. And so of Sudden Change. And what's your most recent one?
Wisdom from the Word.
Wisdom from the Word. Wisdom from the Word. And so these are our amazing co-hosts. And we're going to say salute to Jade and Dawn this morning, who are not with us. And we're going to say good morning to our special co-host this morning. I'm so excited about our guest. Folks, we're here live on WQSW 100.5 FM, Northeast Indiana's only 24-hour gospel station. And I want to say a very special good morning to Miss Christy Rutherford. Good morning, Christy.
Good morning, ladies and Bishop and everyone who's joining us on the line. Y'all got me fired up this morning. I am ready to share, and I'm just ready to get this show started and get it in.
Well, let me give the backstory on how I even came in contact with Miss Christy Rutherford. Social media is something else. I mean, you can say a lot of things, but it does connect like-minded individuals. And so we share a mutual connection, Miss Jack, which I also share with Lynette. Lynette introduced me to this amazing, phenomenal woman named Jacqueline. Jacqueline was connected with this woman right here on social media. And she was commenting on a Facebook Live that Christy was doing. I was blown away by this woman's story. And the more, so I started kind of secretly stalking her. You know how some of y'all do that. I do that. I stalk people. And I became so mesmerized by her story. I invited her to be a guest on my Saturday show, Rise Up Radio. And since then, we have connected. You would have thought we've known each other for like 10 years.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I love it.
It's been amazing. And so Christy is a graduate of Harvard Business Leadership School. She is a senior officer from the Coast Guard and a 5 best-selling author, 5-time best-selling author, which is crazy. In 8 months, you had 5 bestsellers in 8 months?
I had a lot to say.
I mean, clearly. You had a lot to say. So anyway, I'm excited about you joining us. So this is your official welcome to Momentum Monday.
I'm excited.
All right.
Thank you, Jill. You're so fabulous and fantastic. So thanks for inviting me. I love being connected with winners and just spreading the love and the joy around the world and being connected with these other winners that we have on the line. So I'm excited.
Absolutely. Well, I want to jump right in, Christy. You have a lot of really awesome concepts. But one thing we do connect on is winning, being a champion, and going to the next level. And so, I know that you are passionate about being productive and performing at the peak, performing at the highest level. And I'm really, I really want to get into this because I admire those who are in the military. I admire those who have that discipline that some of us just don't have. And so talk to us today about peak performance. First of all, what is peak performance?
Well, peak performance is operating at your best. And I've learned this in the military, but it becomes especially important as an entrepreneur. And it's the discipline around your actions and the decisions that you make to perform at your highest level most of the time. So some people, when you think about entrepreneurship, some people say, well, I don't need sleep. I can sleep when I'm dead. But I tried to sleep for 4 hours and like the other entrepreneurs, but then it took me 3-4 hours to get it together. And I can only give 20% for the rest of the day. So I've allowed myself, I'll sleep for 8 hours because I can go for 120 for 16. So what's the point of sleeping for 4 and only giving 20% for 8? So it's one of those things. Everybody's going to do something different. Everybody's body is going to respond different. So it's about figuring out what works for you and maximizing your productivity and not trying to follow other people. And it does not work for you. We're all individual beings created by a greater being. So what's going to work for you may not work for someone else. So everybody's following the guidelines of other people and not necessarily paying attention to what works for them.
I love that. So you're saying peak performance is really being your best self, optimizing, right? Maximizing at that top level that you have the ability to. And you used the example of sleep. And I didn't tell her to talk about this. And you're on my street this morning because people know I don't sleep a lot, and that's not a good thing. So that's not a good thing, but I don't. And you're right. Even if you're up, you're still not giving, the level, you're not being as productive or the quality isn't as great, even if you're still up.
Yeah. So sleep and some people can do it. I can't. So I learned that's not me. So y'all can judge me, talk about me, call me. I'm going to turn my phone off. It doesn't matter. I'm going to give my 8 hours because I know if I give my 8 hours, I can give 120 strong for 16. And then the second thing is knowing your peak productivity time. And I actually learned this from my good friend who's a personal organizer, Shannon McGinnis. So Shannon talked about a peak productivity time. And I knew for me, I start consciously and my wheels start really turning at 10 o'clock in the morning. So for me, even when I was in the military, don't schedule any meetings where I have to make a decision before 10. So she calls that your peak productivity time. So your peak productivity time may start at 7, where you have a 2-hour window where you go get it. So what's that 2-hour window? For some people, they kick in the afternoon or they kick in at 11. So for me, I knew at 10, don't schedule a meeting where I have to make a decision because I'm here physically, but mentally, I don't kick in until 10 o'clock. That's when I can go get it. So about 10 to 12:30, that's when I schedule all the important decisions that I had to make in that window where I know that I'm at my maximum time.
That's really powerful. So, folks, you're here on Momentum Monday. We have the amazing Miss Christy Rutherford, and we're talking about peak performance, how to get the best out of yourself. And I love this line of discussion because a lot of us put our goals together at the beginning of the year. Then somewhere in the middle, we get sluggish.
Yeah.
Now we're in Q4. We're trying to figure out how come we're not close. And sometimes it's not the lack of, putting our plans together, but sometimes it's a lack of positioning yourself to be the best, right? So you're talking about getting proper sleep. But you also said identify your peak productivity time. I love that. So how do you do that? Because honestly, my husband always says it. He says, my light goes out at 10:30. Yours comes on at 12. Something happens for me at midnight and I'm like, bing! And I mean, literally, I'm most productive, innovative, right? After midnight. And I don't know what that says about me, but how do you identify that peak, productivity time?
That's your peak productivity time. So it's whenever that light goes on and you become superwoman and you can get it all done. And it's when your best ideas come. It's when your mind is most open. It's when you come up with your greatest ideas. So apparently yours is at midnight when I'm asleep. Jill is starting to kick in. And so you want to use that time to not necessarily do the small things and the small tedious tasks. You want to put your most important things that you need to do and those things that require your full attention in that part where you start to kick on. And then you're going to get it done faster because you have the brain power to make it happen.
I love that. So Lynette, what's your peak, productive time? What's that look like for you?
Well, my peak performance time is definitely not at night. I am sleepy when everybody those. Yeah. I get up early in the morning though. I am an early riser. And so I do a lot of, I get a lot done at between 5 and 7 a.m. So I usually go to bed pretty early though, so I can get up early and then I get a lot accomplished early in the wee hours of the morning. And so that's usually my time.
It's so funny. I'll call Lynette sometime and don't let me FaceTime her at 9:05. We already got the head scarf. We got the robe. She has one eye open like, yes, it's 5 minutes after 9 o'clock. That's great. But you're saying it doesn't matter what that window is. Know your peak time. Know your peak.
It's your time.
That's right. All right. So Michelle, what about you? What's your peak performance time? When is Michelle from Women and More at her peak, at her best, getting it done?
Oh, absolutely. That's 24/7. That's me all day long. I wake up like this. This is how I do every single moment of my day. I'm on just like this. However, around 3:30 in the morning, I am ready to go. And to that point, if I have the opportunity, I will take a nap throughout the day. I'll, set my alarm for at least 10 minutes or 30 minutes just to take that off of me. And then I'm ready again. But I do go to bed, but I set myself up to wake up at 3:30 in the morning. And that's when I'm on.
Isn't that something? You guys are hearing secrets of the giants. I study successful routines, Christy, and I look at, what some of the giants are doing. I used to study Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Oprah was one of them. There were quite a few that I would study because I was so fascinated with their level of success. I wanted to know what their routines like. And it all included crazy stuff like 2, 3 a.m., periods where they're studying or they're writing. It wasn't anything normal. It was something out of the norm, but they've identified their peak period. So Michelle goes to sleep and sets her alarm to get up at 3 a.m., y'all. So y'all thought I was kicking in at 12. She's kicking in at Bishop. What about you? When is Bishop Dickie Robbins, warrior of the word, when do you kick in best?
Well, I tell you, I don't want to hear from anybody but God at 3 o'clock in the morning. So I'm not quite like that extreme, but usually mid-morning is my most productive time. Now, the thing about me is I do a lot of thinking and planning in my head during quiet time. And so when I actually put pen to pad or fingers to laptop, it's usually at a time mid-morning and on into the early afternoon. So it depends on what my specific tasks are at hand. If there's something that I have to do at an alternative time, I'll do that. But my most creative time, my most productive time is going to be mid-morning to mid-afternoon.
Okay. I'd love for some of our listeners who are on the line on our Facebook live stream, I'd love to hear what your peak times are. And so, Christy, you know, when I say the how do you identify? Because some may say, well, I don't know when I'm most productive, but you're saying, you know, you can identify that when that light goes on, when you feel that rush, when you are in that zone, that's probably your peak time.
It is. And even if you don't know how to label it, so I didn't know that it was actually a label and it was something that it was called, but I knew I was at my best. And don't talk to me I mean, you can talk to me at 9 in the morning, but don't ask me to make a decision. And so when you learn that, you stop apologizing for it and you stop and you just embrace it and say, I know this is my time. So this is when I'm going to get it in. And what's funny, what Michelle talked about, that's what Eric Thomas wakes up, I think, at like 2-3 o'clock in the morning. So he does the same thing. So he goes and get it, and that's his time. And so if I looked at Michelle and say, well, you know, I think I should start waking up at 3:30, that's not going to work for me. So it's about embracing who you are and doing what you do and operating at your best based on your individual makeup and not necessarily feeling bad or judging yourself because you're not like somebody else.
Excellent. Folks, you're here on Momentum Monday Radio. We're live on WQSW 100.5 FM, Northeast Indiana's only 24-hour gospel station. We have the amazing Miss Christy Rutherford. She is a 5-time best-selling author in 8 months. I'm gonna keep saying that because that's some impressive stuff. That's some impressive stuff right there. A graduate from Harvard Business Leadership School. And it's just so cool to talk to you about peak performance. I am fascinated with this topic. I'm fascinated with Olympians. I'm fascinated with champions. I'm fascinated with those folks who can push themselves to their best. And that's what, you know, performing at the peak level means. And you're saying one way to perform at the peak level is identify your peak performance zone. Know when you're most, you know, when you're most productive. What else? How else can we achieve that peak performance this morning?
The second most important thing is know the foods that you eat. So it's avoid low energy foods. What are the foods that you eat? I eat the same thing pretty much every day because as an entrepreneur, I need to be able to get it in my window. And so I think about when we were in Houston and we used to go to this chicken place, Frenchie's. Frenchie's has the best fried chicken in the world, but Frenchie's used to put, let me stop saying that, but it would make me so sleepy when I came to work that I would just not figure out how to take a nap, but how to take one and not get caught. So when I think about eating pizza, or if I eat white rice, or if somebody says, okay, well, let's go get Chinese takeout, I'm making that decision. I'm not going to do anything for the rest of the day. So if I have work to do, I will get something different. And I think about a client that I had in Singapore the other day. You know, we talked about this. When he gets sleepy, you start to run out of gas, but you need to continue to work. He said, you know what? It's the small things. He said, I never thought about it. I was going to a convention in Beijing. I was going to get a burger at the hotel. And then I said, no, I still have work to do. And then it clicked. So awareness is number one. I know this burger is going to make me sleepy. I'm going to order some fruit. And he was able to work for the rest of the night and stay productive. So it's about what do you eat in the morning? So if you're eating grits or biscuits, you know, from the South, right? Something that's going to make you sleepy in the morning, or a donut, it shoots your sugar straight up and then you crash. And now you're at the vending machine at 10 o'clock in the morning. So you need to become mindful about what are the foods that you're eating that will allow you to sustain your energy? And what are those ones that you're eating that's going to wipe you out? And if you want to stay productive and not complain, you need to start making the decisions to eat certain things that are going to keep you maximizing your energy.
Michelle?
You know, Jill, when you talk about watching champions and how they do it, you know, when I was in a corporate life, I never understood why certain management and supervisors and executives, when they would always bring their lunch, and they would just sometimes be a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and a little bag of apples and some juice or something. But they did it because of what you're talking about, Chrissy, because, you know, the other percentage of people like myself, I would go out and try to get all the food I can during lunch. And then once that was over, I was ready to go home or take a nap, or I had to feel like I had to take a walk because of what you're saying. And that is so useful to the people that are watching us now, that is some of the gauges that we need to adjust in our daily routines.
I so love that, Michelle. And you know what you're doing is you're giving us the secrets. You know, with the folks who are able to participate at that Olympian level, right? A lot of times they say what they do is one thing that may shave off 1 second that may be the difference between first and second, gold or silver, gold or third. That 1 second, that one shift, that 1 degree of change. And so it might be what you're eating during the day that's keeping you from peak performance. I never considered that. There are certain things that do make you, I mean, I'm like Michelle, I do like to eat things that stick to me, right? That make me feel full, so I don't have to eat in, because I don't, that's a different show. But I mean, my goodness, my choices, you know, provide a sluggish environment for me, physically and mentally. That's the truth. That's the truth. And something else I'm going to point out, I read an article on caffeine, right? A lot of us, we're addicted to coffee in this nation. Coffee is the #1 consumed beverage behind water in our country. Crazy, right? And a lot of us coffee heads drink it because we get that jolt, but it's only temporary, because then that also brings us crashing down. Man, I've been in my own way the whole time.
Well, it's the small things that we don't think about, and the food is so key. And I think about yesterday, I got this organic, cage-free egg, free range, blah, 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 some frozen burrito that I got from Target the other day, some organic thing. And I was like, oh, I'm going to try this. And I tried it on a Sunday. And after I ate it, I was laid back on the couch saying, yeah, that's not going to work for me during the week. No. So when you try it, you want to just become mindful and conscious about what you're eating. If you're trying to get it in at all times, which is entrepreneurs as winners, and as winners, we are. So as you become mindful of it, you make the decision. If I eat this, I am consciously making the decision that I'm going to be wiped out and it's over for the rest of the day. And if that's your decision, then go with it instead of eating it and then suffering the consequences of being wiped out when you know you have work to do.
Right. Or what we do is we eat it, then we start the cycle over, drink more coffee to get us back up, or drink more Mountain Dew.
But you know what, Jill, there are so many people this morning that are taking leftovers from our Sunday meal, and it's nothing wrong. I think the key with that is the portion control of those leftovers. We can't take that big Tupperware container that I used to take to corporate. That big, we need to take the smaller one to work, so it can carry us, because everybody want to take the leftovers from Sunday meal to work on Monday. It's just a matter of how much you take to work.
Lynette.
You know, I love this conversation, because, you know, it really is going to stick to my mind what I'm putting in my mouth throughout the day. Like you said, these are things that we do, sometimes not even knowing this stuff, right? I think about how many times I go into the office and there's just bagels there, like saying, Lynette, hey, we got, you know, bagels. And you have to really maintain control. And so I love how what you're saying is really connecting us. It's like our physical well-being is what is going to help us perform the best. You know, sleep, this is connected to our physical well-being, what we eat. I love this. And, you know, I think about the young people that I mentor and their diets. A lot of times they're showing up at school with a hot bag of Cheetos and all kind of just garbage. And I'm like, wait a minute, you know, and then sometimes they get to the program and they linked over and I'm like, where's all your energy? You know, by the time I get them, I'm like, come on, get up. But it really just goes to show what we're eating and, you know, how much sleep we're getting. All of this is connected to our performance. And if we want to succeed and be at our best, we need to listen to Miss Christy Rutherford, who's writing books every hour.
Clearly, she is at her peak every day, all day. Something's going on over there. Bishop?
Yeah, this is very, very eye-opening, because I probably violate in most of those areas. But I think sometimes it's also a problem that we simply don't eat at all, because we don't plan our schedules. We are launching into our day having missed probably the most important meal of the day, which is breakfast, and that creates a problem as well. So eating the wrong thing is certainly not a good idea, but not eating at all is going to get us some of the consequences.
That's so good, Bishop. And I mean, I break that rule too. You know, either I'm eating the wrong thing or not eating at all. Folks, you're here with us live on Momentum Monday. Man, it's already close to the end of the show. We're live on WQSW 100.5 FM, Northeast Indiana's only 24-hour gospel station. We have our dream team, part of our dream team, and the Miss Amazing Christy Rutherford. She's a graduate from Harvard Business Leadership School, and she's written 5 best-selling books. 5 best-selling books in 8 months. I'm gonna keep saying that because I need to do some more of my peak goals during my peak performance. So Christy, you're helping us this morning. We're talking about operating at your peak, operating at your best. We're talking about peak performance. And one thing she said was to identify your peak performance zone. When does your light come on? When are you most innovative? When are you in that zone where you're getting it done? What's that 2 or 3 hour window? For me, it comes on at midnight. Michelle, it comes on at 3 a.m. Lynette, she's up at 5. At 4:30, her windows are, you know, her motors is running, and Bishop is midday. I love that it's different for everybody. Christy, I already know last night at 10 o'clock, you was like, okay, what time I gotta be up tomorrow morning? I'm going to be at 3. You're like, good night. So you said identify your peak zone. Then you said identify your peak food. Identify your peak food. So what is going to give you energy, but what's taking your energy? And I would have never considered that, to be honest with you, ever. And so I think we should study high energy foods for another show so we can help people identify what's going to give them energy. You also talked about sleep. Getting proper rest, right? That's not a new concept, but it is a concept we need to hear. Do you have one more thing for us before we transition today?
Well, I did want to talk about exercise, but I think more important than that, and it's some of the things that we talked about before we started, is use your commute and take time during the day to create personal development. So use your commute as a personal development university time. So it's about solving your problems. It's about solving some of the challenges that you have because you're dragging around this baggage from the past and unforgiveness and what the ex-wife did and what the ex-husband did and what the boyfriend did and what the bad boss did. And I really can say that I didn't know how much weight and baggage and spiritual weight I was carrying around until I let it go. I went to this event a couple years ago and we did this Indian ritual. It was serious. And I mean, smoke, and we're chanting and we're walking around her in the heat. And we had our problems and we buried them and left them on the mountain. And probably about a week later when I got home and I slept, and when I woke up in the morning, I popped out of the bed like a daisy. And I said, well, that's odd. And so without coffee. And then the second day I did it. And then the third day, and I said, I didn't recognize that I was kept carrying around 500 pounds of weight in my chest until I let it go. And it had nothing. So I'm taking vitamins, I'm drinking coffee, I'm exercising, and I'm doing all these things, but it was the baggage of unforgiveness and people that I was carrying with me that was dragging me down and slowing me down. And when I let that go, that's when the books, you know, all these things start to come together. That's the stuff that we don't realize. And we're dragging around our pain and our past and people who hurt us when you can let that go and be productive. So that's the key is use, study personal development, go to events, forgive people, and that will set you free.
Christy,
faster than food and sleep.
Christy, you are starting a whole nother show. Like that's a whole nother show all by yourself. That's a very powerful point. And we're talking about being at your best. And what you're saying is you can't be at your best if you're walking around with the emotional luggage of unforgiveness and unresolved. Wow.
Yes.
That's deep. I mean, I got to take a pause on that. That's deep.
Yeah. Go ahead, Bishop. Yeah.
Yep. There are a lot of brilliant people who are emotionally weighted down. And even though they have these great ideas, they can't convey them because they can't project them through the emotional weight, the psychological baggage that they're carrying around. And unfortunately, we can get so used to carrying it around that we don't even realize that we are. There's a commercial about a telephone company, and somebody's dragging this big heavy weight. They're chained to a lot of fees and costs. But a lot of us have those weights that we're carrying around that have nothing to do with a cell phone, but it has to do with all the experiences of our past that we have not let go of. And I promise you this, if we don't let go of them, they won't let go of us.
Oh, that's good.
My. Hashtag, if you don't let go of it won't let go of you. Folks, you're here live on Momentum Monday, WQSW 100.5 FM, Northeast Indiana's only 24-hour gospel station. I want to say goodbye to our radio listeners. Thank you so much for joining us. on Momentum Monday, where your Mondays will never, ever be the same. Join us next Monday. For our Facebook Live listeners, my goodness, Bishop just dropped the mic once again. Bishop, it is so powerful. My goodness, this is a whole nother show. You do realize that. You do realize that this whole emotional luggage thing that prohibits us from performing at the peak and just moving forward is a whole nother show, but it's so real. The unresolved. Michelle, you had your mic unmuted. I'm sorry.
Just what Bishop was saying, that was the whole message that our pastor was preaching yesterday in regards to Joseph. And he did an illustration yesterday with 3 men. Actually, it was 4 men. One guy was trying to get to the top where he ultimately wanted to be. He wanted that promotion. He wanted to be elevated. But there was 3 men that were holding him back. The opportunity, his passion, his desire to go forward was there. But the things in his life, the people in his life was holding him back. He had so much energy. He wanted to get there. But when he ultimately, or the men released him, or he released himself from the men, once he got to the top, he was exhausted from trying to get away from the things that was holding us. Sorry about that. The things that was holding us. That's just how I do it. Why wouldn't I do something like that? It doesn't matter. What I'm saying is that everything we just said was just right. But we got to make sure that we're letting go all the things, all the problems, the people. And ultimately, like I always say in every show, we got to make sure we are checking ourselves. We're checking ourselves to make sure we're not holding people hostage as well.
Bishop?
Yep. Have you ever been with somebody, maybe a friend, a spouse, whatever, and they say, hold this for me? It's something that they want to do, their priority, so they'll give you something that they don't want to hold in that moment, and you hold it for them. All of our lives, people will ask us to hold things from their emotional baggage, their issues, their problems, because they don't want to bear them by themselves. And so we a lot of times get stuck with stuff that hold us down, keep us back, and they don't even belong to us. And so another thing is that we can't be everybody's everything. And sometimes we have to let them know, I'm not in a position at this point to hold this for you. And that will free us up also. Listen, if you're holding somebody's purse in one hand, you can't carry the load that you're supposed to carry that requires 2 hands. So make sure that what we're carrying is ours to carry and not necessarily somebody else's.
Oh, that's so good, Bishop. That is so good. Folks are talking about peak performance and how you operate at your best self. And so Kristy's giving us some really good information. The first thing she said was identify your peak zone. When are you most effective? Then she talked about the peak food. What foods, and Lynette, I got you. What foods are you eating that will give you energy or that are draining you? And then she talked about getting proper rest. I mean, that's not new, but we got to get it because that is a barrier to peak performance. And then now we're talking about releasing the emotional baggage, letting it go, because that also keeps you from being your best self. Lynette, I'm going to go to you, and then Kristy, I'm going to let you have the final words. Lynette?
Well, I just want to say, Kristy, you bad to the bone, because anytime, you are a perfect demonstration. She just said, I want everyone to catch what she said. She released the emotional baggage. Okay, we got this. She's a peak performer between 10 and 12. So I know when to call you, right? And she's aware of what she's eating. But when you said that you released and you allowed yourself to let things go, that's when the books came. Do you know how powerful that is? Like how much stuff was inside of you that was being just held hostage? Oh my goodness. So it just kind of awakens me to think, what else is inside, or what am I allowing to stop me from performing at my best? There's so many things that people need from us. I mean, I just can't wait to get my hands on your books, because again, it's freeing some folks. And I love the fact that we have to get out of our own way. You have literally woke me up this morning and just given me something to really think about. And I appreciate you being on the show. This is awesome.
So basically, Kristy just showed us that all of us, we're all emotionally constipated. That's really what she's saying. That's really what she's saying. And you got to a point where you had an evacuation, you released. And what made you get there? Christy? What caused you to get there? Because you had been walking with it for a long time, as a lot of us do. So what was the defining moment for you?
Well, I do want to say thanks for the shout out, Lynette and Michelle and Bishop and Jill. I'm excited to be here. But for me, it was, I had everything. I had the money. I had the title, the positions, the power, and all these things, but I was miserable. And I was like, is this it? Is this what life is? Because this is not what I imagined. This is not, and I'm not happy. And so I let go. And we've talked about it in other shows, but I resigned with 3.5 years left to retire from a highly successful 6-figure career because I was searching for something more. Well, what was I looking for? I wasn't sure, but I knew that I would know it when I found it. So what feelings are you looking for? I'm not sure. So I just set out on a journey of discovery. Discover what? I don't know, but I'll know it when I find it. And so I went to a lot of events. I spent a lot of money. I've listened to a lot of videos. I've studied a lot of champions, and I started to become self-aware of what am I doing? What kind of life am I creating? Who do I want to be? Who do I want to become? And to let that stuff go. I honestly, when I just started to wake up and I started to realize that I can pop out of the bed this happy when I wake up. Because who's happy when they wake up? Not a lot of people. And not a lot of people who are working in jobs that are considered drudgery. And I was like, I am just so perky first thing in the morning. This is very interesting. What did I do different? Well, I went to this camp and I let all that stuff go. Well, if this freed me, if that ritual in 4 hours freed me 500 pounds, what else am I holding on to? So then it became a cleansing process of, if that let me go, that means that I have more stuff. So I just went all in on, who do I need to forgive? What do I need to let go? What do I need to do in my life? How do I need to perceive something different? How can I now forgive more people in my family? And one of the things that Bishop talked about, but God says, cast your cares on him, not me. I'm not carrying your baggage. You can't call me and start complaining about something. So I turned my phone off. So I started talking to people who were giving me their baggage to hold, and they weren't interested in solving their problems. So it's one of those things where even when you and I talked yesterday, we're sharing ways to make each other higher. If you say something negative to me, I instantly eject you out of my network because I'm not going to allow you to give me a baggage that I didn't ask for. So I'm very, very deliberate in who I talk to, who I allow to talk to me, what do I listen to? And so now it's about freedom 100% of the time, operating at my max 100% of the time. And if you're not okay with that, I'm okay with you not being in my life.
That's right.
And I don't apologize for that.
That's right. I think that's so powerful. And I love that. And I want to have you back to talk more about that, that eject button, because you did talk about that. We talked about relationships and you said, hey, I don't have a problem with ejecting, and it's not always physically, but sometimes you have to remove that energy. So I thought that was really powerful.
It's spiritually, it's the energy. Yeah.
Yes. We're out of time, ladies and gentlemen. We're out of time. However, I want to remind everybody what Christy shared with us this morning. Christy, thank you so very much. Thank you so very much for joining us today. We got Miss Christy Rutherford. And how do you operate at your peak? How do you get to the peak? First of all, identify your peak zone. When does your light turn on? Identify the peak food. What's that food that gives you energy and doesn't put you to sleep for that nap? Your sleep patterns, get some more rest. We all need to do that. Release the emotional baggage. My. Woo! That's a whole nother call. Sorry, I wasn't trying to do you, Michelle, but that kind of gave me a right there. And the personal development, that's a whole nother topic, but that's also important. Continue to develop yourself personally. That also helps you operate at your peak. We are out of time. Folks, thank you so much for joining us one more Monday on Momentum Monday, where your Mondays will never, ever be the same. We'll see you next Monday. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, y'all.
That was awesome, Christy. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies and Bishop and gentlemen. This was fun. I mean, I think that we don't recognize that emotional baggage is, everything is key. It's the small things that make up the big things. And I was reading yesterday and I actually sent it to my coach because he showed me an inefficiency of what I was doing. So the science of getting rich, Wallace D. Waddle say, if you have small inefficient acts throughout the day, your life will be a failure. So you have to make each subsequent act efficient in order to become rich. And wealth doesn't always have to do with money. but it is. So it's about getting all the small things in order in your life. And so you become wealthy, you become rich in order to be able to serve other people. But we have to get that stuff in alignment with ourselves first. So what's the point of having money? When I think about Steve Jobs, he had the money, he had the success, but he didn't let that bitterness go, and it ate him up. And it materialized in his body in disease and decay. So you can have it all and still carry that baggage and that hate and that resentment, and it would eat you up. Man. So how can we be really free and free indeed?
You know, that's so powerful. We got to talk about that on another call, Bishop, because the physical manifestation of the unresolved baggage, like we got to talk about that, you know, and how it shows up in your body and in your spirit and how that drags you. We got to talk about that. I think that's powerful.
Yeah, because unforgiveness always manifests itself in physical and emotional ways. A lot of people are institutionalized on medication because they won't release things that they can no longer do anything about. So forgiveness frees you, not the person who harmed you.
So powerful. Well, I can't wait to the next one. Christy, will you join us again one Monday? I know it's not in your.
I sure will. This was exciting. Thank you. Y'all got me fired up. Michelle is cracking me up, and Lynette, I love it. I love being associated with winners only. And I love Bishop and the insight that he's sharing. And Jill, of course, you're just phenomenal. We're going to be friends forever.
Forever, that's for sure. All right, everybody. I love you guys. Mwah.
All right. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye, y'all. Have a good one.